So I figured with a lot of football coming up, I thought it might be good to upgrade one of my older TVs. So I bought the cheapest 55-inch from TCL, and I also bought the cheapest 55-inch TV from Walmart's On Brand to see which one is better. I actually paid the same $228 for each TV, which is kind of crazy if you think about how expensive TVs used to be not too many years ago. But I'll leave a link down below with current pricing and more information. They both have a 4.3 out of 5 rating. Out of 8,000 reviews for the On TV, over 28,000 for TCL, but I'm not sure if that's accurate considering this is the newer 2024 model. I think they have an older model with almost identical specs. Both of these came in a box that is a lot smaller than you would think for a 55-inch TV, but for the space that I'm going to be using this in, I feel like 55 inches is probably the max size. Both of these TVs are really lightweight considering the size, but TCL is about 9 pounds lighter at just over 20 pounds. They both have small plastic feet that are somewhat similar in style, but the feet for the TCL TV are probably about 25% smaller. You get 4 HDMI ports with 1 HDMI eARC on the TCL TV versus 3 HDMI ports, including 1 eARC HDMI for the On TV. Then you have 1 USB-A port, optical audio, a coax connection, Ethernet port, along with dual band Wi-Fi, and headphone jack for both. One difference is on the TCL TV, you get a single audio video port versus composite on the On brand TV. So pretty good connections considering these are budget TVs. They also switch the sides that the connections are on for some reason. I'm not really sure why companies do that. They both work with a VESA mount. TCL is 200 by 200 versus 400 by 300 for the On TV. You can use the same remote on both TVs without doing anything. I noticed on the TCL remote, the purple directional arrows are plastic versus silicone for the On brand remote. Of course, the app shortcuts on the bottom are slightly different as well. Both of these seem to work pretty good in my testing, and they're close enough that I don't really prefer one over the other since they're so similar. As far as the software, both of these come with Roku built in, and the setup is going to be pretty much identical. Really, the only difference between these two is the wallpaper that they're using, but obviously you can change them to the same exact one. The good thing is I feel like Roku TVs seem to be a little faster or smoother than when it's Fire TV built in, but obviously it's going to be personal preference. You can also control each TV using the Roku app on your phone or tablet as well, so that's always nice to have. I personally would never base my TV decision on the built-in software because I feel like you'll get a better experience if you connect an external streaming device through an HDMI port like Google TV, Fire TV, Apple TV, and so on. Plus, it's much easier to replace or upgrade those devices if you change your mind on what you want to use to stream content. Now, when it comes to speakers, these are both bottom firing, and they're definitely not the best out there. Kind of a huge difference on these two though. The On TV speakers are so much louder than on the TCL TV that if you turn it up to about 10 to 15, it's probably similar to 25 to 30 on the TCL TV. They're both probably loud enough for a small to medium sized room. Obviously you can get even better sound by adding a soundbar or external speakers, but here's a quick sample of each just to see if you can tell a difference.
Putting on you till gone, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
Now both of these TVs are 60 Hz refresh rate, but they do have auto game modes. You have smooth motion while gaming or watching sports with the On TV, and motion rate 120 with the TCL TV. Both are actually better than you would expect considering the price and the specs. Both of these TVs have 4K resolution with HDR10. It says 250 nits brightness for the On TV, but I couldn't find the specs for TCL. If you put these right next to each other, they're actually really close. close when you're looking straight at them. Just a few minor differences. Probably the biggest difference is when you view these at a larger angle than 45 degrees. It's actually kind of crazy how different they are. The on TV looks almost as good as if you're straight in front of it, but the TCL TV looks so faded that you can barely tell what's on the screen. I also feel like the TCL TV has a little darker blacks in some cases. Probably just depends on what you're watching, and it may come down to personal preference because they're really close. As long as you're not at a wider angle off to the side watching, they both look really good in person. I did notice that both TVs are on HDR dark for the picture mode by default, and for some reason the TCL TV looks pretty bad on that setting, so I would change it to HDR standard or HDR bright, which looks much better. The viewing angles still aren't going to be as good as the on TV, but definitely looks a lot better straight in front of it. I feel like both TVs do a really nice job of playing faster paced games like Rocket League on my Xbox Series X as well. I also tested out playing some games on my iPad using AirPlay for both TVs, and they seem to work just fine. I didn't even notice any lag or delay using an Xbox controller, but really depending on which games you're playing and which picture mode you have them on is going to determine how good the TVs look. But as you can see, there's a lot of similarities between these two, and I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Regardless of which one you go with, I feel like at $228, both of these are definitely worth it. There's just a few small differences that might make you lean towards one or the other. If you told me I could only choose one, I'd probably have to go with the 55-inch TV from Walmart's On brand, mainly because the better viewing angles. Because where I'm putting this, more than likely that could be an issue since I'm not always watching it straight in front of the TV. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.